Hi, Tara. It's so great to have you here with all of us today. We've already been laughing off recording behind the scenes about our curls. We were celebrating the curls. Um, so we're having a good curl day, which means this is going to be a great interview. That's how I know. If my curls are, it's like the weather, right? It's Groundhog's Day and my curls. It's like if my curls are behaving, we're going to have a good interview. so
Every day my hair has like a different ethnicity. I'm like, what we giving today? Is she
mhm.
confused? Where are we? Yeah, got it.
Yes, you get out the ancestry.com and you're like, it's 1% this today. Yep, you've shown up. You have shown up.
You're
So happy to have you today. And Tara, you have such a big and bright platform, right? I love watching Black women who are multi hyphenates in the sense of like not being restricted to one thing, which I think is our lifelong struggle as people, is to be full and expansive. And yet that doesn't happen overnight, right? You don't
hmm
just wake up and go, look at me, I'm doing all these things and I'm successful. There is a lot of internal and external work that has to be done to get there. And so we always start with our guests by asking about how they have kind of opted out of struggle or decentered struggle in their lives. And for you as a creative, I always like asking all women this, but creatives, because like you said, it's hard out here. We said this off camera. It's hard. Like it's not easy to be a creative and a creator. So how
yeah.
have you kind of went about this process of not centering struggle in order for you to be successful?
I think that's a big question, and I like love, and I'm also like shooketh that it's the first question. um, I think that's one. I'll admit that that's going to be an ongoing process because it's how I'm raised. It's my literal ancestry. I'm Haitian. I'm first generation Haitian. I come from a family that escaped persecution to move to the States to provide me a life, and so it's literally in the like threading of everything I know, right? Um, and it became a source of safety, actually, not specifically struggle, but like that grinding hard work, like aggressive approach to like we got to make it happen because it's life or death. Like I'm raised with, and it's weird because it's never really said, right? But it's this kind of undercurrent of energy of like we have to work so hard, and it's in the work that there's safety. So if you keep moving, if you keep going, that's where the safety is. And I think opting out came from a place of burnout, which is why it's so apropos that we're here. It came from a place of health issues, and thankfully nothing life threatening, but certainly life altering at times, which we can get into later. And so the way that I continuously challenge myself to come out of that is if if I cannot be well, what is the point? Like if I don't feel well, if and then now, not to make it too heavy too early, but we've lost some close friends recently, whether it's with like health issues that they should never have had so young, or choosing dying by suicide, and so it's a very um challenging frame of mind to be, but I continue to challenge myself to not think that struggle is normal and to not value struggle. But when you remove that, then what is it? What is it? Rest? Is it joy? Is it fun? Is it play? Does that mean I'm not being productive? Does that mean I can't achieve? Does that mean I won't move forward? Because what got me here was that struggle mentality, that grind, like it's feast or famine because we're all freelancers. So if you don't get the gig, every single gig, then when, January hits, which is also my birthday month, like, it's, there's no gigs. What are you going to do in January? Ah, but when do you rest? When do you
Yeah.
take time for yourself?
What's left when struggle isn't so centered, right? Becomes the kind of the mantra of like, what do you fill it with? And you've set us up to head there because we're going to get there. But I wanted to rewind a bit. One, yes, this podcast goes deep fast. We got 15 minutes and we like, let's talk about what we're learning. But I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to go back to because I think we have a global audience and I think there's something to be said. I'm also a first generation American. I have an immigrant parent, and my parents from the West Indies as well. And I think that needs to be brought in the room too. That there is a culture when you are a first gen of a parent that's an immigrant, that there is, or parents plural, that struggle is just like, that's life, but it's also a pride point when you overcome, right? Like the overcoming is the joy and the reward, right? It's not having sent struggle in the first place. Like that's just
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's struggle. But the desire, the need to like overcome, and the pressures that are often put on us as children to be successful, and on Black women to be successful, has that
Mm-hmm.
something you can relate to or speak a little bit more about for our audience?
I mean, it gave me goosebumps because, of course, like it's wild out here. It's like I, it's like, okay, where do I even begin? But recently, I've been speaking to some of my friends who are now married with their first child or multiple children and have like extremely, high achieving as far as their pedigree, the work they're doing, everything, and they're also taking care of the home, and they're taking care of the baby, and they're being a wife, and somehow, and they want to make time to work out, and they want to eat well, and they also want to, it's like the list goes on and on. And sometimes I look at it and I'm like, I'm not married yet. And not everyone wants to. I say that because I want to be married. I don't have children yet, and I want to be a mother. I'm exhausted as I am.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
How do we do it? And my personal theme has been rest, because I think one of the, blessing in this context seems a little sus, but let's say one of the blessings of quarantine was this realization that I needed to do a huge overhaul. Just because I am in wellness doesn't mean, yes, I have very good habits. I'm very healthy. I actually do live the life I say I do. That doesn't mean I don't still get exhausted. That doesn't
Right.
mean I don't still kind of overlook my needs. So maybe it's as simple as, I now don't think of massages as like, oh, you had a tough day. It's like I schedule them ahead of time, and I may cancel, but I will never get a massage if I don't already have it in the calendar somewhere. And like
Yeah.
already, I'm calling myself out. September, I did a great job. I booked a lot of things ahead of time. October, there's not one massage booked. And I'm like, oh, October just sprung up on me. But it's like, and again, sure, I could take the time and be like, shame on you. You're supposed to be on top of these things. And it's like, I'm a human being. And now I've remembered, and I'm going to do my best to book these things ahead of time. Because if I already feel this tired at the top of the month, how am I going to feel at the end of the month? Because I can feel the pace picking up. I can feel that it's a mad dash. I'm a creative. I'm an actor. The strikes are about to end. So who knows what's coming in these last little bits of 2023. So I need to be more responsible about taking care of that part of myself. The same way I want to make sure that deliverables for a client, or for one of my partnerships are good. The same way, like, I show up as with my partner. I'm newly fiancéed. It's like, how do I want to show up
Congratulations.
for him? Thank you. It's like literally 2 days ago. Um, and how do I continue to honor all the people I love? And the answer is like by honoring myself. And I
Yes.
think that's been the most challenging realization, that I can't save some of my family members who want me to do their emotional work for them. I can't save, and I think I'll just leave it at that, because that's kind of top of mind, which is why I even bring it up.
Yeah.
I have older parents. Again, immigrant. There's a lot of expectations of, especially of a Black woman, of the youngest in the family, of the
Yes.
siblings. Stop what you're doing and care of everybody else. And it's like, actually, I need to prepare my mind, body, soul for this next chapter of my life. I can't.
Yes. I mean, I really like, I can equally relate as the youngest child, yes, 100% to all of that. And also this, we live in a culture where more is more, and we don't understand that that's just not true at some point. Like
Mm-hmm.
everything about our culture, and then you put on top of it the responsibilities and the cultural pressures that Black women feel, is this need to say yes more than say no, is to do more
Mm-hmm.
for the culture, do more for my parents, do more for whatever this is, fix societal wrongs. And none of that is wrong. But at
Mm-hmm.
some point, it's been a long journey for me of unlearning that more has become less for me. Like it actually, there is a point where it's like, there is no more benefit to the more. I am
Mm-hmm.
just giving from zero. And that's not great. And it might be feeding someone else's soul, but it sure isn't feeding mine. And it has become that. I totally understand. I'm that person too. Oh, I book all my massage. I just say, just go and put it on for the third week because I won't. Life's busy and things
Yep,
get hard, and it is
exactly.
that unlearning. But you're talking about this unlearning of not centering struggle, which I think every one great thing, the thousands of people listen to this podcast, is that they're on that similar journey, which is why it's always
Hmm.
so beautiful to have people acknowledge it, make people feel seen and heard, because we don't have these conversations. Some of it's just because it's a little bit like it feels bad to say, I have to center myself. The first time to say that to like a family members who've like generationally given everything to their
Literally
families,
everything.
literally everything.
I mean, the women in my family are so powerful, so strong, so multi-talented. Almost all of them have not had the opportunity to even explore those talents.
Mm-hmm.
They are talented kind of despite life and society.
Yes.
It's because it just pours out of them. They make things at home. They like do, it's for them, it's for the family. And it's, I'm so proud of my heritage and I will always be that. And I think what I learned, I don't know why it makes me emotional. It's just, I think it's just where I'm at in life right now. But like what I learned in the past 10 years specifically is like the American dream is me getting to like pursue my dreams.
Yes. Yes.
Like that's what you know, I'm gonna
Yes.
stop crying now.
No, no. First of all, yes. I mean, I'm getting emotional in response. I think, one of the things that led me to do what I do is that I come from this strong line of women who were resilient and brilliant and so good at what they did, but couldn't fully express themselves, right? Couldn't do all the things that I get to do. But one of the things, and I talk with Black women all the time about this, is like they were brilliant and resilient, but I never felt joy. Like joy was not in the vocabulary because there
Mm,
just wasn't space for that. And what has kind of started me on my journey to is like this radical rethinking that like the way I honor the legacy of those women who have sacrificed so much for me to be here is by centering joy because they didn't get to have
hmm.
it. Like I think all the way back to like slavery and all the way back to like Africa, although in Africa before slavery came, they were joyful. But like this whole thing of like there's no joy there. Like there may be resilience and there may be look at the culture and look at the things that happened, but
Hmm.
joy was not a conversation we've had as Black women. And so
Right.
it's been a mission to, it's like the way I've reframed that because I hear you, I feel everything you just said. I feel it like today, like literally today, I feel it.
Hmm.
And because it's a lot of my story too, is that like the way I've tried to make peace with that is by saying, I honor you when I center joy. I give to
Hmm.
you. I live in me in honor of you what you couldn't have. Or what, it's maybe they passed my grandmother, great grand, like, but you couldn't have. And I model for whoever comes after me that, we could be, joy is in the language. It's now, I brought that in the
Yeah,
lineage and that wasn't there before.
exactly. And I mean, talk about powerful healing. I do a lot of work in the energy world. I'm a Reiki master and do a lot of meditation. I'm a meditation instructor. And a lot of what we talk about is the way that a lot of time we think we need to be actively, fixing our family members or ourselves, but it's in our process of healing and discovering and healing our life. Like something as simple as your aura can make a difference in your family's
Mm-hmm.
life. You don't have to be like, I discovered that when I was 5 and you should have, but you didn't. And now look at me. A
Yeah.
lot, I mean, I'm saying there's a time and place, but we actually don't have to over rely on that part of it because we can genuinely trust that our process of healing is healing our family before, family that's to come. Even this process of talking about fibroids, that's something that I found out I had fibroids a year ago and it really rocked
Same.
my world in a way that's like odd. Like I was like, Tara, this is not cancer. Like take a breath. But I think it was because I was like, but this is the most I have taken care of myself in my life. How? When? Like I felt betrayed. I felt like I betrayed. I felt like it was this convoluted thing. And, after like checking in with like different like OBGYN, all these different doctors, different opinion, and then talking to all my like woo-woo world, I call them, my holistic world. What came up was like, it's an opportunity for more healing. Leave them alone. They're not actually bothering you. Even though they're quite significant, they're not bothering you. Leave them alone. It's an opportunity to heal and like release a lot of generational suffering and cords and all these different things that we don't need to bring into the next generation, is what a lot of this is about. You know, I know I took like a turn into woo-woo world, but that's where I live.
No, it's all right. You can live there. It's all right to live there. And I agree. Like, I think, I once someone told me that the reason why diabetes is such a prevalent thing in the Black community is because Black people haven't known a lot of sweetness in life. And I thought that hit my soul. I was like,
ooh, that gave me goosebumps.
Right? I'm like, that is a whole word right there. And so I do feel the same way. It's an epidemic. Also have fibroids. Everybody I know that is Black women that is doing things has some kind of issue with the reproductive organs. Like, just, it's a given. And it always is like, I think it was my body telling me, you need a moment. Like, stop it. Because now I'm at the point where I'm like, I just build my work month around my cycle. Because my cycle comes and it says, you're sitting down. I don't know why you continue to want to get up and do stuff. Like, look at you. Like, I'm, bent over trying to do a podcast interview. No. Like, no. Just stop. And in that pause, like you said, once you decenter struggle, what is left? And that's like, I really, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about what's left, right? Because it's like, we're going to talk about how you've built your platform. I want to hear how you've done it, how you're centering joy, right? Because it's like these realizations and these powerful moments that give us where we go next. Mm-hmm. We've paused. What do we fill it with after we've paused? So we'll be back with Tara. This has been so good. This conversation's so good. I can't wait to come back and continue us talking a little bit more about how you created this platform and how you are in the pause filling it up with goodness.